And I was wondering, as a lobbyist group, because personally I've never been a part of one, how does that work in the U.S.? Are you actually providing pieces of recommended legislation? Like, do you have like lawyers that actually write it up and say we'd like to insert this into the farm bill, or do they say we're going to do something? Like, how does that conversation happen?
Well, I think it's a little both. I mean, I will not suggest that we tell any U.S. senator or congressperson what to do, for
Right.
sure. But yes, I mean, we provide expertise. We provide that education and explanation as to, what the real story is. Again, there's a lot of confusion. I mean, even
Yeah.
now
Exactly.
with hemp versus marijuana, and you have, I think one of the most interesting parts of this journey with hemp in more recent history is a number of very conservative states getting on board behind hemp, which
Well,
surprises
and
people,
I've been
right?
following it from just
Yeah,
very much from a
yeah.
distance here in Canada. But yes, and that's one of the things that even well, off screen I said, was there a surprise that this was passed with, and then you sort of unpackage the farm bill, being that the
Hmm.
farm bill happens every 4 years, so it has to get passed.
Yeah,
But it was passed
with
um,
this language
with
in it. Hmm.
essentially a conservative government with this language in it,
Hmm.
and which must then there must be a certain amount of support from primarily conservative states. And you sort of had an interesting explanation as to why that is.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of the Mitch McConnell, who's obviously very conservative leader, leader for the Republican Party, has been a huge advocate for hemp, and I think that surprises a lot of people initially. And initially, I think it surprised Mitch McConnell probably because, like most people, cannabis and marijuana were sort of interchangeable terms, right? And hemp is part of the cannabis family. So, I mean, I think like many people, he was probably initially quite opposed to hemp until, he had a chance to learn a little bit about it and realize, okay, this is not the stuff that gets you high.
It's like the distant cousin that lives on the other side of the country, kind of.
Yeah, we kind of say, it's like lemons and oranges. They're both citrus fruits, right?
You're
I mean,
right.
it's really, they have a lot of similarities for sure, but they also have some really distinct differences
Yeah.
or different breeds of dogs. They're all canines, but your mastiff and your adorable little Shih Tzu or with butter, whatever
That
she,
snuggled up beside you on
the
the
snuggle up
on the
dog that
meeting couch. Yeah.
I want her here on my lap right now. But I mean, you have all these different breeds of dogs, and they're bred for different things, right? So they have genetic differences,
Yeah.
but they're all part of the canine family. And I think those are really good comparisons to hemp and marijuana. They're cousins. They're part of the same plant family, but they are cousins, and they have some very distinct differences. The biggest of which is the fact that hemp has, 0.3% or less THC. THC being, what gets you high in marijuana.
Right.
Whereas marijuana can have upwards of 20% or more
Hmm.
THC. So there's a really big difference in that regard. So hemp cannot get you high